Red Hot Gotsy, come subscribe, come subscribe, come subscribe, come subscribe. Red Hot Gotsy. Alright, so today I'm talking about Spider-Man 2 once again, and this is actually going to be a review of the entire game. Now, basically, I played it for like a week and a half almost, and I just wanted to go through the entire game, go through the entire main story, the campaign, and just kind of, I had to run through it because I wanted to make this video and just kind of go over my thoughts. This is sort of like, I think it's like 1 or 2 days after I made the, after I actually beat the game. So if you haven't subscribed already, comment, subscribe, and, we make videos like this, about video games, anime, movies, TV shows, stuff like that, of varying degrees, Star Wars sometimes, or just Marvel, DC, just whatever, right? Usually in the realm of like either superheroes or sci-fi and just crap like that. Alright, so let's just get into it. Let's get into the review. Now, I would say, to start it off, I would say gameplay, story, and visuals. I say that they're all like pretty interesting this go around. I would say the gameplay is probably the best thing about the entire game, because it really expands upon what the first game did, and it adds a lot more like different skills and stuff you can do different. You can actually build a pretty good combo a lot easier than you could in the first game, and just the varying stuff, like when you're in the air, like air combat is increased like significantly. I found myself using a lot of different abilities with like both Spider-Man in general. I used their skill trees that actually, which interesting enough is they have like a shared skill tree, and then they have skill trees of their own, which I really like, and it kind of increases the potential of each character. Like Miles has his Venom abilities, and Peter, has his like regular abilities, and he also has like the 4 arms, his like little spider arms. They're very much like Dr. Octopus's like tentacles, and I really like how it expands upon what you can do with them, and just like how powerful they can actually become, and stuff like that. So yeah, the gameplay is definitely a plus. Also, I'm going to be talking about like the positives for the beginning of the video, and at the end I'm going to talk about some of the negatives, because there are negatives. It's not a perfect game. I'll say the story, overall, I'm going to get into that later, but I guess I'll talk about it a little bit. I'll talk about the positives. I'll say when it comes to everything that happens, with Peter and Miles and stuff like that, I think their relationship has grown a lot more, and they've gotten very used to their powers and just becoming sort of a duo when it comes to being Spider-Man, and just helping out the city and stuff like that. And people have actually gotten used to Miles, which I actually said in my first video that was going to be something that he had to kind of people have to grow accustomed to. Is like now there's 2 of them instead of just 1. And it's interesting because in the first game it was just 1, it was just Peter, and then Miles got his powers, and then in the second game Miles was the only Spider-Man because Peter was on vacation and stuff like that. And it's just interesting, playing two Spider-Man. That's something I didn't talk about with the gameplay, but if you've played the game, you already know, like, there's 2 Spider-Man you get to play throughout the entire thing. The one thing I do not like, well, actually, I'll get into that later. But yeah, I do like that you can see Peter, every now and then, like in certain missions, and you're going about the city, actually just, stopping characters like Sandman, stuff like that, and just like you get to see him every now and then when you're fighting like regular thugs, and I just like stuff like that. But I guess. And also, I like when it comes to gameplay that you can play like different characters. Like you get to play Symbiote Spider-Man, you get to play Venom, you get to play different characters. Obviously, there's MJ, which is, I guess, adds some variety, but I don't necessarily like the MJ missions in either of the games. So I'll say it has versatility in terms of the gameplay as a plus. Going back to the story though, I do like how it really like represents each Spider-Man well, and kind of represents their struggles, like Miles trying to get into college, and Peter just trying to have a decent job to sustain himself, and MJ, and they sort of have their struggles that they have to work through, and I like how that gets resolved. I actually like MJ a lot more in this game in general, and I like sort of her arc where she becomes Scream, and she actually is able to reveal some of her insecurities and stuff like that. I don't necessarily I'll just say this. I think the Harry stuff was actually very interesting in the beginning, him actually just interacting with Peter, and, sort of not getting to know him, but like catching up essentially. I really like that element of the game and just how you get to see after all these years they actually he's re-implemented into society, sort of just they're kind of reliving some of their childhood memories and stuff like that, and I really like that. It reminds me of the Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's just, the thing is, I think in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 it was kind of flawed because like you don't really hear a mention of Harry or anything like that in the first game or the first movie, the Amazing Spider-Man. But in this, like you already know that Harry exists and that they were, really good friends, all that other stuff. Like he's established. It's just that he was in the tank, with the Venom symbiote and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it was a lot more seamless with this, and I really enjoyed their relationship, in general, or their friendship. And the visuals, I would say the visuals are really good in this game. I would say that in some ways they're better than the first game. I'll say with the cutscenes, they're definitely better. Some of the suits don't look the best, I would say, and I'll get into that later. But I would say a lot of them also are unique and different, and they added some stuff from the first game, like they have the Raimi black suit, which was one of my favorites personally, and it really adds on to the fact that they're adding suits from the movies and different versions of Spider-Man, like that you've already seen, movies, TV shows, comics. I'm actually very interested if they have like the cosmic. I don't think they do because I didn't get to all the suits. But for Miles, they also added some stuff. I don't know each suit's name. I would have to like actually go back and actually look at them, but I like the first suit. He gets like the sportswear. That's probably my favorite from Miles. And I just got the alternate where he had like the Miles Morales like mask on, the black and red, and then he just had the hoodie on, the red hoodie, and the blue like the blue jacket or whatever. I really like that. In general, I just like all their suits for the most part. There's some that I really don't like in they're kind of carried on to from the first and second game, but overall, it's like I think you're gonna have a good time with the variation of suits and the variation of colors really. So that's a good thing. So yeah, some of the suits don't look the best, but some of them also look like amazing. Visuals wise, let's see. I think the environment, like the actual city, looks spectacular. Pun intended. But yeah, I just think it looks really good, and it obviously is like from the first and second game. There's not many changes in terms of like the environment. Like in Miles Morales, there was like it was like winter for the most part, and that's why I really liked. It kind of gives it like a unique feel. For a Miles game and stuff like that. So I really like that. In this one, it's not really like that in any degree. I would say it rains a little bit every now and then during like the story missions, especially when you get the black suit. But other than that, you don't really see much of variation when it comes to that. But that's fine, really. It's not really like a thing I'm really like annoyed about or like hung up on. It's just kind of, I don't know, it's weird. I guess if we go to characters now, I'll say Peter and Miles. I already sort of talked about their arcs and how they finish and stuff like that. I did like how Peter, he had to get over the fact that his Aunt May died, and that Harry's whole arc was kind of because of him, and he had to sort of accept that and try to help Harry in his own way. And then Harry ends up getting rid of the symbiote afterwards. Sort of like Peter sort of like does what he didn't do in the first game, which is reform one of his villains, and I think that's a really powerful scene, to be honest, a very powerful moment. Miles actually reforms one of his villains as well, and he lets Lee live. He lets him have his like redemption arc and stuff like that, which he was actually pissed off at Lee in the beginning of the game and actually wanted to let him die almost, but he's Spider-Man, he's a hero, so he didn't actually do that. But he was thinking about it. Like he really was upset at Lee for letting his father die, getting him killed and stuff like that, which honestly makes sense. And I really liked Miles' arc. I don't really have much. I even like when he was in the like mind prison that Lee put him in, and it kind of reminded me of the first game how Spider-Man was put in the same thing. Like Peter, when it was basically like the car chase or whatever you want to call it. It was more like a truck, like a giant truck. But honestly, yeah, I just love how they carry elements like that into the other games, and it kind of reminds you of what this franchise could actually provide in terms of like visuals and like visual storytelling essentially. I'm trying to think. I also like how Miles had to reflect on all the people he's lost and how much like the importance of him actually being Spider-Man, and in the mind prison he sort of thought about that. That's actually probably my favorite moment that Miles has in general is in that mind prison when he has to fight Lee. Um, I also liked just him and Miles or him and Peter actually teaming up and actually trying to put their heads together to not only stop Venom but Craven as well, and like how that played out. Uh, Harry is an interesting character. I'll talk about some of the benefits of him being in this game. I do like how he probably is the best Harry Osborn I've seen out of any Spider-Man media in general. Like he's genuinely the best in the beginning, like when he's a good guy and he just wants to help people. He has an illness and it kind of like represents like he wants to help the little guy out, even if he can't help himself. And his dad, obviously he wants to help him. This Norman, Norman doing Norman things, and every freaking iteration of Norman is like an asshole, low key. Like he's out doing some evil crap, and then Harry sometimes gets involved with that, and low key in this game he does. But in the beginning, you really get to see the humanity behind him and just what he wants to do. He genuinely wants to help people, just like Peter does, and it kind of you can kind of see why they're best friends, And it's very tragic when he ends up, becoming a bad guy. He takes the Venom symbiote, and even what's interesting to me is he was kind of like pissed off at Peter before he actually got the black suit. So you actually get to see the real him, stressed out, essentially annoyed at Peter for like not helping him, actually like save his own life and stuff like that. And he's desperate, so that's why he actually gets the Venom symbiote. And I actually like that Norman was like a normal human being in this. Like I didn't expect him to actually be as normal and just see so much humanity from him. Because like usually you would see a Norman that's just like an asshole and just like plotting some evil crap, but like really, I genuinely felt like the Venom symbiote was like he obviously didn't tell the whole truth when it comes to it, but you really felt like he was trying to help his son. He kept some secrets about like what it was, an alien and stuff like that, but he thought that in his mind it would genuinely help him, in terms of like curing his illness and stuff like that, and it did. But he obviously didn't account for it turning evil and trying to corrupt the entire world, which is an issue. That's why I do not like Norman. Even in this game, he's still an asshole. But I do like that you saw him more as a human and not just like a plot device or like, oh, he's gonna be Green Goblin or something like that. Like I didn't really see him here that way here. I just saw him as like another character, just like a really flawed individual, just trying to, protect his family, struggling, obviously, failing. But I feel different about this Norman. I don't know. Now, obviously, in the future, like in Spider-Man 3, the game, he's definitely gonna become Green Goblin or Hobgoblin or something. But I liked what I saw of him here so far. Even with him being a bad guy, doing bad stuff, it feels different. One of the better Normans I've seen in Spider-Man media. Alright, so going back to Venom, I'll say Venom is actually a very interesting character because you only see him for the third act, which is very similar to Spider-Man 3, and I don't necessarily love that, but I do love some of the stuff they do with him, like the fact that you can actually play him. I think that's awesome. And you really get to see just how menacing and just overpowered Venom is. I just love that in general. Really just seeing the symbiote at work, it just shows like how much power Peter actually had with the symbiote. He just did not use it fully, and it just kind of it's interesting to say the least, really, because you even heard Craven saying, oh, you're holding back, and you didn't really understand how much he actually was, because even I was like curious, like why isn't he just eviscerating Craven? Why isn't he just destroying him? Because he has the tendrils and stuff like that. And he really should, but I feel like he was heavily holding back, because if he was Harry, he he would have been dead a lot quicker, to be honest. And that's what I noticed, and I really like that. I really like that difference, just showing just how powerful Venom actually could be. And I like how the Venom symbiote was actually more in control than Harry was at times, and it really like showed just the corruption and power the symbiote actually has over its host. and how it can like bend their mind to. It actually showed like it wanted. The people still wanted the same like stuff that they already wanted in general. Like they still had the same motivations, but it was twisted in a way, or they were more determined in a certain way. They had a different ambition, um, or not ambition, a different sense of motivation, I guess. Yeah, a different drive. Yeah, that's a better way to put it. They had a different drive for like actually uh going after the stuff they actually wanted. So Peter, he wanted to be Spider-Man, so it just made him a better Spider-Man, like they literally said in the game. Peter said it himself, and that sort of like went through his mind, and it kind of goes with Peter's arc of like wanting to be better, wanting to help people, wanting to save the people. Even though he can't save everyone, and that's something that he had to go through with his Aunt May, and he eventually has to go through with Harry. But he really tries. He tries to be the best Spider-Man he possibly can be, and that's exemplified with the symbiote. And with Harry, he wants to heal the world, which is very similar to what the Venom wants to do, which is heal the world and spread the symbiote throughout the entire world. Yeah, so I really like just how that they sort of connect, and you kind of understand why Venom and Harry sort of like connect on that certain level, to at least some degree. And it's just interesting, really, just seeing that whole arc play out. And then he corrupts all these different people. Like he corrupted Peter, he corrupted I'm talking about the symbiote. The symbiote corrupted Peter, it corrupted Harry, it corrupted MJ, and you get to just see how it affects all of them and how it affects their mindset and what they actually want. It's very interesting stuff. And it actually was very similar to like Web of Shadows and stuff like that, which I really liked in general. I haven't really fully played Web of Shadows. I might actually do a video on that. Comment, subscribe, like I started already. Let me know if you actually want me to do that, because I'm thinking about it. I really am. But I'm definitely gonna play it regardless. In terms of the other villains, do I do like that it kind of gives Craven a really good like, I guess, menacing feel. The fact that he can like kill all these other villains, and they were off screen, which is not the best, really. I don't like that, but I do like how it gives Craven this like really powerful feel, like he really is intimidating, like he really is that guy. And it just shows that they really have a huge threat on their hands. And if the two Spider-Men do not work together, and if they're not smart about this, a lot of people will die, and a lot of people did die technically. So it's just like, I really do like his intimidation factor, and just like his planning, the fact he's really smart. He's also really rich in this one, which is interesting. I didn't really perceive Craven as like rich necessarily, which actually I guess it kind of makes sense. Like he's a hunter, and he has all this equipment, and he flies to New York in order to fight Spider-Man. And this is kind of similar to like Spectacular and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really cool to see that he even made his own like serum in order to make himself stronger and a better hunter, so he could be on par with Spider-Man, which actually makes logical sense, because it's like, how is this human on the same level as Spider-Man? It kind of irritated me with like Kingpin in the first game. It's like, where's this coming from? But yeah, I really like this, honestly. It kind of just ties in, like the other villains kind of tie into like what Craven's whole arc was about. Him just wanting to hunt, him wanting to fight the strongest being he possibly could, that would actually earn his life, earn his death. Earn his death, not his life. And it's just, I like that arc. I like Craven overall. He's very powerful as well. Like the boss fight with him was kind of annoying, and I kind of liked that it was the most challenging, because again, I think he's the most, next to Venom obviously, is the most important, one of the most important characters, and the second most important villain. But he's my personal favorite of the game. When it comes to side characters, I really liked obviously Genki and Rio for Miles, and I also like Uncle Aaron and how he sort of like reformed and stuff like that. I like that element of Miles's arc, is just like sort of accepting him, trying to get used to the fact that he's not the Prowler anymore, and he has to sort of try to trust him at the very least. And then with Rio, it's just trying to make sure Miles is safe, sort of trying to get over the fact that he's going out there every single day, because she found out in Miles Morales' like solo game that he was Spider-Man, just trying to get over the fact that, you know, his dad is very similar to him, wants to help people, will do everything he can to do that. And yeah, Miles every single day has a potential to die, but she has to deal with that fact. She has to deal with the fact that, you know, he's constantly in danger, and just looking after. She has to look after her boy, you know. And Genki is trying to help him any way he can. I do also like how Genki sort of treats Peter like a, not necessarily like an equal, but like almost like, not necessarily like he's above him, but like he's almost flustered by Peter's like presence. He's like, oh my god, this is the Peter Parker, the Spider-Man. I like that element of him, and I think it's interesting, I'll say. When it comes to Peter, I already talked about MJ and stuff like that, and how I think she's significantly better in this game. I do not like the plot armor she has. It's constant plot armor. I do like that she was trained by Sable, and that she had like a special gun, like a taser gun, from Sable, you know, herself. And, you know, I don't even know how much training she actually got. She just said she had training, and, you know, she wasn't specific. But I mean, I guess it's fine necessarily, but I still feel like when it comes to the symbiotes and stuff like that, that whole arc, she should have been killed like multiple times, especially when she had that boss fight with like the giant symbiote. And if you play the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That is freaking ridiculous. She should not be able to win that. I literally don't care the circumstance. She should not be able to win that. But besides the constant plot armor, I think her actual character, like, you know, what she says, what she does, it's fine. You know, her having to deal with the fact that, you know, she's dealing with Jonah, you know, working for him, and, you know, Peter had to work there as well, you know, in the past when he was younger, like a teenager still, and he, you know, sort of moved on from that, you know, to other, you know, things in general, other jobs, trying to, you know, grow and just, you know, change up what he's doing. But she feels like, I guess, pushed back in a way. Like she's sort of in Peter's position, Peter's position that he was in a long time ago, and she feels like he's holding her back, and it's kind of, that's sort of an interesting dynamic. And then eventually they sort of get over it once she actually has a symbiote on, and she realizes that her feelings are sort of bottled up, and that she needs to express that. And she expresses it in a weird way, but I do like how eventually it does get out there, and Peter has to listen to that, sort of help her through that, help her through a similar situation that he actually went through himself. So I do like that parallel in general. Also, I was wrong about Gwen being in this game. You know, well, not necessarily, because I thought it was gonna happen, or I thought it was a theory of mine. I actually didn't want it to happen, so I'm actually kind of happy, to be honest. So yeah. Overall, I think this game is really good in terms of the visuals, the gameplay, some of the character situations, and just the overall like fighting and just being Spider-Man, being both Spider-Men, I should say. And it really just captured a lot of the elements of what makes good Spider-Man stories. In a good Spider-Man game. So I'm definitely gonna replay this, you know, play some of the play the DLC when it comes out, because it's definitely gonna be DLC for this. And just let me know what you guys think about this video, and, you know, this game in general. Comment, subscribe, like I already said. And also, I did say that there was gonna be negatives, and I might do that in a separate video, because I kind of dragged this video out a little bit too long. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed anyway, and see you guys later. Peace.
Red Hot Gotsy, come subscribe, come subscribe, come subscribe, come subscribe.